Hi everyone, long time no see. It's it's a week before Christmas. Sorry it's been a while since I've done a video. If I'm being completely honest, I've had a lot of stuff going on and family stuff, and I've just not really been in the mood for doing a video, so I do apologise, but life does get in the way of these things sometimes. But yeah, I thought I would do a video before Christmas because I have not done one in a while. This one is going to be about a type of shoe that I wear. A lot of you may have already heard of this type of shoe, but for some of you, you may not have heard of them before. It's called a barefoot shoe, and I'm going to do a little video today to show you some of the pairs that I've got, and also a new pair that I've just had come. I've been waiting probably nearly 3 weeks for this pair of shoes. 2 to 3 weeks, I think. And yeah, the tracking got stuck for a little while. I kept checking the tracking every day and it just kept saying it was stuck at the airport, and I was like, how long does it take to go through customs? But yeah, they finally arrived today, so I'm gonna incorporate showing you the new ones with the ones that I've already got. I'll tell you a little bit about them, why I wear them, and why they might be beneficial for you if you fancy giving them a go. So I'll just get straight in with barefoot shoes. A lot of you, as I say, may already know what they are, but for those of you who don't, barefoot shoes is basically a pair of shoes that are designed to try and mimic being barefoot as much as possible without the dangers that come with being barefoot in modern society, because you don't really want to go walking around barefoot when you live in an urban area. There's too many risks with that. So, but the thing is, with modern shoes, conventional shoes, they're not really the right shape for our feet, and a lot of this goes right back a few hundred years really. You're looking at sort of after the late medieval period, when shoes started to change with the fashions and become more of a fashion statement rather than just a practical item. And shoes during that period, during that sort of Tudor period onwards, they became real fashion statements, and that's when the shapes of them started to become quite ludicrous and not really mimicking our natural foot shape at all. You know, even men wore heels. You know, heels. You started to get heels on shoes, even men's shoes, and they became much more narrow and much more flamboyant. And really, for the last few hundred years, although there's been some changes in style and shape, that typical shoe type where you have a heel and a narrow toe box has actually become the standard, and that's what the problem is. So with a barefoot shoe, you don't have a narrow toe box, you have a wide toe box, and that allows your toes much more room to move and to splay out in the way they would when you're naturally barefoot, and that's the way our feet are designed to be. They also have what they call a zero drop heel, so that means completely flat, no heel at all. Even if you look at a standard shoe today that's considered a flat shoe, it's not flat. It does have a heel on it. It might be very, very tiny, and if you're used to wearing conventional shoes, you would consider it to be flat, but it's not. Even a trainer is not flat. There is an elevation to the heel, and then it just very, very slightly tapers down to the front. The problem with this is if you are wearing something that elevates your heel, it throws the whole of your body out of alignment. So you're designed to be in perfect alignment with the ground. If you're wearing an elevated heel, even if it's only slight, that forces your body to sort of push slightly forwards. And if you're going slightly forwards, then your knees have to compensate for that, your ankles have to compensate, your pelvis, your spine, everything all has to slightly compensate, because you're going forwards, you naturally then have to sort of go back again. And it's only slight, it's not even that you would particularly notice it, but your body does get thrown out of alignment by having an elevation on the heel. So that over time can give you, and I say can because the claims, the benefit claims with barefoot shoes, it's not an exact science, and it's benefited some people, but I can't sit here and say that it's absolutely beneficial and it's absolutely going to help solve all of your problems, but it can help alleviate certain issues if you are suffering with things like a bad back or bad knees, bad ankles, you know, poor posture, that kind of thing, because we are naturally supposed to be properly aligned and not leaning forwards. So it's a bit like a Jenga, really. If you think about Jenga, where you're taking out certain blocks in the pile, if you take one out and it starts to teeter forwards, you've got to sort of go back the other way to sort of try and keep upright, and that's a similar thing. So it has a 0 drop heel, it has a wider toe box to allow your toes to splay out. The other thing is the sole tends to be thinner than a conventional shoe, so if it's a thinner sole, it's still thick enough to obviously protect you from outside elements and things that you may be walking on that could hurt your feet, but they are thinner, and that means that you have a lot more sensory feedback from the ground. So if you're walking over cobbles or cracks in the pavement or any kind of uneven terrain, you're going to feel it, not to the point where it brings you pain, but you will feel it. With a conventional shoe, the sole is so thick that you can't really feel much when you're walking along. And the problem with this, again, is that you haven't got the same amount of feedback from the ground, and that can lead to things like trips or stumbles. They have done a study with older people wearing barefoot shoes versus conventional shoes, and the study showed that the elderly people actually had less falls when wearing barefoot shoes compared to conventional shoes, because they're not wearing things that are so clunky, and they can actually feel when they're on uneven ground, and then their brain has time to catch up and actually like correct themselves if they're gonna stumble. So that's a real benefit of the shoe, that you're going to get less trips, less stumbles potentially. And the other thing with them is that they're very lightweight and very flexible. So with the sole, they're so flexible you can actually bend the shoe in half, and because they're lightweight, it just feels so freeing when you're wearing them. It's really difficult for me to go back to wearing conventional shoes. I do still have some pairs of normal shoes, but having worn barefoot shoes for nearly 3 years now, I've actually noticed a significant change in my feet. And when I go back to wearing conventional shoes, my toes just feel so cramped, and I hate it. I actually put on a pair of winter boots a few weeks ago that have been stored in my wardrobe for ages, and I put them on and I walked around my bedroom in them, and I had to take them off. I could not stand the sensation of my toes being cramped in that position, because they're so used to having wiggle room. And I can't stand to wear anything with a heel now, even if it is supposed to be a flat shoe. It's not flat, it's not 0 drop, and I'm so used to my shoes now being completely flat that if I wear anything even with a slight elevation on the heel, I can feel it. I can feel like I'm sort of teetering forwards, and I do suffer with a chronic back issue, and I get knee pain as well that flares up sometimes. And so for me personally, if there's anything that I can do to make improvements to those, then I'm going to do it. And I have found that, this may be a bit of a placebo, or it might just be coincidence, but over the last couple of years my back has not been as bad, touch wood, as it typically has been. And whether that's to do with the shoes or not, I don't know, but I'm not going to take the risk and go back to conventional shoes. And plus, they're just so comfortable. It's so freeing wearing barefoot shoes. It really is. It's just, when you're walking along, it does feel like you're not wearing a shoe. They're so lightweight, and you've got so much flexibility when your foot comes down. You've got so much more flexibility because the sole is so flexible. You can literally twist the shoes and fold them up. So it's just really comfy. Most of them do come with an inner sole that you can take out. So if you want an even more minimal effect, and you want to feel the ground even more, you can take the inner sole out, and then you'll literally just have the rubber sole and your foot. There's no inner cushioning at all. If you're starting out wearing barefoot shoes, I wouldn't recommend you do that straight away, because it's quite a jump to go from conventional to barefoot shoes. I would recommend starting with the sole inside. That gives you a little bit extra cushioning, because you may not find this, but you may find that when you're first wearing them, that you might get a little bit of foot pain, just because if you've been wearing conventional shoes your whole life, you're not going to be used to these types of shoes. So I would sort of go easy and sort of wean yourself into them. Maybe wear them for a few hours a day, wear them around the house, or wear them on a short walk, and then just slowly build up from there. Personally, I did, it's hard to remember now, it's been nearly 3 years. I did get a little bit of, I wouldn't say pain, but my feet would be a little bit achy if I wore them all day. But that didn't last long. I just stuck with it, and after a few weeks that disappeared. But now they're just so, I mean, when I put my trainers on, they almost feel like slippers. They're so comfortable to me. So but yeah, there's plenty of brands out there that do barefoot shoes, ranging from really expensive B Corporation brands where they're very environmentally friendly, and right down to really, really cheap brands. So there's something for everybody. If you are on a slightly lower budget, the cheaper ones, obviously they're going to be more mass produced and not overly environmentally friendly in their production methods compared to some of the bigger brands. And they're not going to be using, say, natural materials like some of the bigger brands do. But it really just depends on what your budget is, because barefoot shoes have been around for a pretty long time now. I would say the last sort of decade, 15 years, they've really sort of grown in popularity. Before that, they were a little bit more of a novel thing, because they were so new. But more and more people now are aware of them, and even I'm seeing people out and about with them on. So because they do look different from a normal shoe, so it's quite easy to spot when someone's wearing them. But I would say that the prices are coming down a little bit from what they used to be, and certainly the availability of them is becoming better, because a few years ago your only options really were to buy the top brand ones, because they're the only ones producing them. But now you do have cheaper brands producing them to compete with their rivals, and because of that, you're now going to find that there's a budget shoe for you out there as well. But yeah, just bear in mind that they may not be as good a quality as you would get from the more expensive brand. But if that's all your price range can go up to, then you know it still gives you that chance to experience a barefoot shoe. So anyway, I'm going to crack on and show you some of the pairs that I've got to give you an idea of what you can get out there. I'll start with my oldest pair first. And this is actually was my first pair of barefoot shoes that I got nearly 3 years ago. So this is a pair of trainers, and they are by a company called Saguaro. Now these, I would say, are a mid-range price. They are the cheaper end, but their quality has, I think personally, gone up over the last couple of years, and so the prices have increased a little bit because of that. However, they are still cheaper than some of your higher brand barefoot shoes like Vivo Barefoot or Bilenka. So these ones are incredibly flexible. As I said earlier, you can literally fold them up. They're incredibly lightweight when you put them on, and as you can see, it's a zero drop, so there is no elevation at all to the heel, and very lightweight, very flexible. So when you're walking along, you can, especially if you're trying to, you know, reach up for something, your whole foot will bend with the shoe, rather than a rigid trainer where you haven't really got much flexibility in the sole at all. This is the wide toe box that I mentioned. So with a traditional trainer, this bit will come up into a curve, but then so will this side. Whereas with a barefoot shoe, they try to straighten out the toe area, and it's more boxy. And doing this gives your toes more space. So you've got more room to splay your toes out. And then with the sole, the inner sole, as I say, it does, I'm not going to take it out because it is falling to bits a little bit, but that's the inner sole that you can take out. It's quite thin, as you can see, but it does just give you that little bit of extra cushioning if you need it. But yeah, mine are really, I don't know if you can see inside there, but like the sole there is like rubbing away because I've worn them so much, and they're nearly through at the sole here. This bit's completely lost the grip, and it's almost going through, so that's why I needed to get myself a new pair. But I mean, for my first pair, considering these cost me, I think they were £39. I got them off Amazon. They were £39. So as I say, they are one of the budget ones, and they've done me 3 years so far, and there's still life in them. I mean, I now use these as my muckabout trainer. So if I'm going out and, you know, I don't really want my nice trainers getting ruined, then these are the ones that I will still wear. So that's my first pair of Saguaro trainers that I bought. But I mean, for 3 years, I don't think they're too bad still. I mean, obviously where they're going here, I don't know how much longer I'm gonna get out of that, but the tops are still pretty good, and they're quite a funky colour. So that is my first pair that I ever had. This is my newer pair of trainers, which I've only had a couple of months, and these were, where did I get these from? This was a cheap pair again. These were even cheaper than the Saguaros. These were, I think, they were either from Temu or Shein. So these are real cheap ones. I think they were under £20. So if you are on a real tight budget, there are even barefoot shoes that you can get with that sort of budget. But yeah, these are my current ones. Please excuse the dirt on them, because they're my everyday trainers. So I haven't bothered cleaning any of my shoes up for this video. They are what they are. But yeah, this is my current pair in this nice beige colour. And the difference with, let me get my other pair up again. These are slightly higher on the ankle to my other ones, only by a little bit, but these ones are obviously higher up here. And the other thing with these is, with this pair, the tongue is a proper traditional tongue, which is separate, and then obviously you can tighten up the laces. There's a Velcro piece here, and you can pull that to tighten, and then just secure that down. But yeah, the tongue is completely separate. Now, because I do have a back problem, I do find putting shoes on and off difficult sometimes. It depends on how bad I am, but on a bad day, I can struggle to get my shoes on and off. And having a tongue that is separate is a pain, because if my back is bad and I'm trying to push my foot into my shoe, I end up pushing the tongue right the way down to the bottom of the shoe with my foot, and then I've got to try and grab it and like pull it back out again, and that's really annoying. So I wanted for my next pair of trainers to try and solve that problem. So this pair does that for me. This doesn't have a tongue. It's just this top part. And honestly, I can't tell you how soft this is. This is like a knitted material, and it's stretchy, and it's so soft, and I don't get any rubbing here. I don't get any blister problems. This is really comfortable around your ankle and around your heel. And the great thing with this is I can push my foot in when my back is bad and I can't bend down to put my shoes on. I can just push my foot in, and I don't have to worry about the tongue getting shoved all the way down to the bottom of my shoe. They do up the same in terms of, you know, no laces, you just pull this tie. I have them set to, you know, where I want, and then I don't really have to keep adjusting them. But yeah, really it's a fake lace, because the whole of the upper is flexy, so you shouldn't really need to adjust it too much. But same principle, bend up, and we've got the wide toe box here. The reason they bring this up like that is to give you a bit of added toe protection in case you scuff your toe. And then yeah, the heel does have a little bit of cushioning with this inner sole. Let me see if I can see again. The inner is quite thin, but it just does give you that little bit of extra protection if you want it. But yeah, that's my current pair, and these are so comfortable. They are literally like slippers. I love wearing them, and yeah, I've had them a couple of months, and they cost me, I can't remember the exact price, but they were under 15. They do quite a range of barefoot shoes on Temu and Shein, and a lot of them are under £20. Some of them are only just over the £10 mark. You might be able to get a pair for like say £12-13, so it's a really good price. And the other thing is, if you're interested in barefoot shoes but you're not wanting to splurge out in case you don't get on with them, this is a great way of sort of stepping into that world and trying them without having to spend a lot of money and then regret it if you find that you don't get on with them. So perhaps start off with a cheap pair like this. So that's my current pair of my trainers and my old pair of trainers. Please excuse the state of these because I haven't cleaned them since I've been out for a walk. These are my walking boots. Now these are a much more premium brand. These are Vivos, or Vivo Barefoot, as the full name is, Vivo Barefoot. I call them Vivos for short. This is a pair of their walking boots. They are in leather. Now, I don't actually buy leather shoes from new. It's just a thing that I do on principle. I just don't, I don't like to buy leather because the leather industry has a lot of cruelty in it, and I'm not going into it today, but that's just a personal choice for me. But I don't have an issue with wearing leather if it's second hand, because my money is then not going direct to the company that makes the shoes. So these are a second hand pair that I got. Vivo Barefoot do a second hand spin-off company called Revivo, and their website sells second hand Vivo Barefoots. But what you can do is, if you have an old pair of Vivo Barefoots that you don't want anymore, you can actually send them to the company, and they will either give you some money off to buy your next pair, and what they'll do is they'll refurbish the shoes and sell them on second hand on their website, which again is a good way of, if you want to invest in a more expensive brand but you don't want to pay the price, you can get a cheaper pair from them. Now, they do different grades of quality. So you have, I think it's I can't remember if this is exactly right, but I think it's like fair, good, great, or excellent, I think. Don't quote me on that, but basically that will determine the quality of the shoe and what life is left in it, and that will determine the price range. So if you get like a pair that's only rated as fair, then obviously there are going to be some obvious wear and tear to the shoes, and the price will reflect that. Or you can get the excellent pair, which are almost like new, but they might be, say, a pair that someone bought, tried on once, didn't want them, sent them back, so they're pretty much brand new. Those ones you're not going to get a lot off at all with the price. You might maybe get like a £10 difference or something, but it's still £10. But yeah, these are more expensive. These cost over £100 brand new, and again, they're more rigid than... I'm getting sand all over my desk because I wore these to the beach and the sand's all dried. But yeah, these this walking pair, they are leather, and then they've got the buckles up the side here to adjust the laces and tighten the laces up. Obviously they come right up to support the ankle, and you've got a nice thick tongue, and the back is very thick here as well. Nice pair of boots, and they have good grip on the bottom. Now these are a more rigid pair of shoes than the trainers, but that's because they're designed for, you know, tough terrain, so they are going to be a bit more rigid. So the sole is a bit thicker, and they're still, I mean, I'm not going to bend them because the sand is coming off all over the place, but I can still bend them. They're still flexible, but they're not as flexible as the trainers. They are a little bit more rigid, but these are also, hold on, let me just turn them around that way. There's a little waterproof sign there. So they have actually put a protective coating on the leather to make them waterproof. Now I have bought, that's not going to last forever, and I have bought one of those waterproof solutions, so you can take care of the leather, it will condition it and keep it waterproof. So there is an application you can put on to improve the quality of the leather and strengthen the life of the shoe. These also have a thermal insole, so the sole on the inside, I don't know if that's going to show up on camera, probably not, but it's red, and those are a thermal insole, because again, with them being a much thinner sole than a conventional walking boot, you're closer to the ground, and if you're walking out in the elements, your feet are going to get cold, and so they put a thermal insole inside to help combat that problem. So your feet are going to stay nice and toasty, but you've got much more freedom of movement with these than a conventional walking boot. So that's my Vivo Barefoot walking boots that I have. I'm now going to have to clean up my desk and get the hoover out, I think, because there's sand all over it. These are my fancy pair that I got for myself just for if I'm going out for a meal and I want to wear a dress, something like that. I tend to wear like dresses with leggings and boots. That's more my style. I'm not really a girly girl. I don't do, and again, because of my back, I haven't worn heels in years, and I won't wear heels anymore anyway. So for me, dressing up is going to be a long dress with leggings and a pair of flat boots rather than heels or dainty little girly shoes, because I just don't really do shoes like that. But yeah, these are my Chelsea boots that I got. And again, I got these from Revivo. So they were second hand. They are leather, very, very good quality, soft, supple leather. And yeah, they're just my posh pair really. These have a cork insole. That is actually natural cork inside. And then the rubber is, can't think of the word. It's not synthetic rubber, it's real rubber. And then you've got the leather as well. So really, apart from the elasticated bit here, it's an all natural product. So very, very breathable, but again, really flexible. And you've got the wider toe box here. I do personally find that Vivo Barefoot shoes have a narrower toe box than some other brands. They're still obviously wider than a conventional shoe, but I just find that theirs are a little bit more on the narrow side. There was a pair of blue, like a navy blue knitted pair of trainers that I bought from them secondhand again last summer, and I ended up returning them because they were too narrow for me personally, and I just found them a little bit uncomfortable. I wore them around the house for a few hours to sort of break them in and see how I got on with them, and I found that they actually started to irritate my little toe they were rubbing. So I decided to send them back. But you know, everybody's feet are different sizes, different shapes, so you know, it's still worth giving them a go. It's just for me, that particular type of trainer just did not work for my feet. These, however, I don't have a problem with, but just be warned that if you do have a slightly wider foot, Vivos may not be the brand for you, but you know, you can return them, so it's still worth giving them a try. I just personally find that they are a slimmer line of shoe than other brands out there. So yeah, that's my fancy pair. And we are now on to my new pair, because I wanted a pair of winter boots. And I've got the walking boots, I know, but they're more for like proper walking and hiking and stuff like that. And I wanted a pair of sort of winter boots instead of trainers, as an alternative to trainers in the cold weather, but a pair that I can actually wear every day, not going out on all kinds of hard terrain. I just want them for urban life, you know, walking around town and driving and that kind of thing. So this pair is from Saguaro, and that is the same brand that I mentioned earlier that I got my first ever pair from. And they have just arrived today. So I'm going to open them up for you. They came in this nice little cloth bag, and I'm going to just open this and show you. I got a black pair. They do them in all different colours, but I decided to go with black because I thought that's just going to go with more things. And obviously my Chelsea boots are in a brown, so for an everyday boot I thought it would just be nice to have standard black. So let me just get these out. And here we go. The other thing I liked about these is the zip down the side, because again, with my back, I do find sometimes that putting on a pair of boots that I have to pull on and off can irritate my back. I've got an old, like really old, this is actually to replace my, they're not Uggs, but they're like a cheap version of Uggs. They're that style, but they're just not the Ugg brand. And I've had them now for 6 years, and they've gone through at the sole to the point where if it's a wet day, the water actually now comes through the sole when I get wet socks. So I can only, I'm just about still getting away with wearing them, but it's only on like a cold, dry day. They do still keep my feet nice and warm, even though the fur is really worn down. But as I say, I can only wear them on a dry day now. But they've done me 6 years. I think I got them from Next originally for like, I think it was about £25. So 6 years worth of wear for that price is pretty good. But yeah, they're my current winter boots, and they're just the pull-on version, just the typical Ugg style, like pull on, pull off. And the problem with that is when I'm pulling, if I'm standing and I'm trying to then sort of like bring my foot up to me and then pull the tops of the shoe like this to get my foot in, sometimes I can get a twinge in my lower back. So I am struggling with that type of boot now, and that's why for my new pair I wanted to make sure that they had fake laces and with a zip down the side, so I can actually just have the zip open, push my foot in, zip them up, and not have to worry about the pulling sensation. So that's the reason behind that. But yeah, I'm really happy with these. They are in a sort of a velvety material, sort of like a plush velvet material. And as you can see, they've got that wide toe box again. And I do find with the Saguaros that they are a nice wide toe box. They're a bit wider than the Vivos. See how much curve you get there for your little feet, your little toes, and then you've got this straight bit here for the big toe. So, but yeah, really nice. I think that's a really smart looking boot actually. Nice little ankle boot. You got quite a good quality zip on there. Feels nice and sturdy. I'm going to pull out the stuffing so I can show you inside. Now you do have obviously real laces, but you're not going to need them with the zip down the side. I shall just keep those tucked out the way. And then inside you've got a fleece lining. It's synthetic obviously, but it has this synthetic sort of lining all the way around and at the bottom as well. Oh, that feels really nice. Actually, the base doesn't have the same material, but it does have a fluffy lining. If I pull, hopefully I'll get this back in afterwards. I'm going to pull this out a little bit so I can show you. I don't know if that'll show up on camera, but this is like really, really soft, fleecy material. It's not the same as the fleece on the inside up here, but it's sort of like a fuzzy material. So that's going to be really nice and warm and comfy. So let me see if I can push this back in again now. Whoops. But yeah, zero drop again. Nice and flexible. I mean, they're not as flexible at the moment because they're new, but obviously once I wear them, that will start to loosen up. And yeah, a nice decent zip. And the other thing I like is you've got the this bit on the back, so you've got something to hold on to if you're pushing your foot in. The little brass button on the back, which is quite nice. And you've just got the brand written on the heel there. And yeah, good grip. But yeah, I really like those. I'm chuffed with those. They're going to keep me nice and warm, and as I say, it just gives me something different to wear rather than trainers in the winter, because your feet can get quite cold in trainers sometimes, particularly with that pair. They are quite a thin material, so yeah, it's just nice to. And I don't really like wearing, I don't know about you, but I don't really like wearing big thick chunky socks, because I just find that my feet feel too restricted. If I'm wearing a thick pair of chunky socks and I've got them crammed into a pair of shoes, like my toes can't move, and I hate feeling restricted, I really do. So I would much rather the boot keep my feet warm, and then I don't have to worry about having a thick sock on. So, but yeah, that is my new pair. So yeah, I'm really chuffed with those. That is going to solve my problem with my back, being able to just zip them down like that, and I can finally get rid of my old pair. Although, to be honest, I'll probably still try and get another year out of them. I might use them as a muckabout pair for the beach in cold weather when it's dry. But yeah, I cannot wear them when it's raining anymore because they literally just go straight through. But yeah, you go. That is my new pair of boots. And that is what I wanted to show you today, and just give you a little lowdown on Barefoots in case any of you were interested in giving them a go. I don't have anything Christmassy to show you this side of the year, I'm afraid. I know last year I did some videos showing you some Christmas bits. As I say, I've not done a video in a long time, and I haven't even got my Christmas decorations up yet. I've not really been in the mood, if I'm being completely honest. I've not really been in the mood for Christmas this year. I'm feeling a little bit more Christmassy now, because I went on a mini break with my mum a couple of days ago, and we went up to Yorkshire to a place called Knaresborough and Boroughbridge, and yeah, it was really, really lovely. We went around a little market. They had a Christmas fair on, and with stalls and things, and they also had some carol singers, and it was just, all the lights obviously are on this time of year, and Christmas trees are lit up everywhere, and that really did help me to feel a little bit more festive. But I've just not really been feeling it like I did last year. So I am very, very behind in putting up my Christmas decorations, but I am going to because my mum's actually doing Christmas this year. Last year I hosted, this year my mum's hosting, but she is going to come to mine on Boxing Day. So I do need to get my Christmas decorations out, because it'll be a pretty sore party if she come round and I didn't have anything dressed. So I'm gonna make an effort. I'm not gonna do the tree this year. I've decided against that. It's just, as I say, it's me on my own, and I'm just not in the mood for it. And it's a lot of effort a week before Christmas to put up, and then the thought of having to take it all down again just fills me with dread. So I'm gonna just put up some decorations, but forego the tree this year. And yeah, I'm still gonna have a nice time. I'm gonna enjoy myself, but I'm a bit more low-key this year. So but I thought I would do a video this side of Christmas, so I get to say happy Christmas to you all, and hope you are all having a wonderful time. If you're already off, or if you're about to go off, have a lovely time with friends and family and loved ones. Have a fantastic time, and I will hopefully see you in the new year for a new video. Take care, guys. Bye.